The police came at dawn. I heard the pounding on my apartment door before I was fully awake. Heavy fists, urgent voices, the kind of knocking that means something terrible has already happened, and they're here to tell you about it. I opened the door in my pajamas, my hair a mess, my heart already racing. 2 detectives stood in the hallway, their badges out, their faces serious in that practiced way that law enforcement learns. "Are you Natalie Harris?" the older one asked. "Yes," I said. My voice came out small. "What's wrong? Is someone hurt?" "We need to talk to you about your brother," he said. "Marcus Harris. May we come in?" I let them in because what else do you do when police ask? They stood in my small living room while I made coffee with shaking hands, not because I wanted it, but because I needed something to do with my body while my mind raced through every terrible possibility. Car accident, hospitalized, dead. "Is he okay?" I asked, turning from the coffee maker. "Is Marcus okay?" "He's in custody," the younger detective said. Not unkindly, but not gently either. Just matter of fact. He was arrested last night. The floor tilted. I sat down hard on the couch. Arrested? For what? The older detective pulled out a folder. He set it on my coffee table and opened it to show me photographs. Buildings, cars, people I didn't recognize, bank statements. And in the center, a photo of my brother in a suit, shaking hands with a man whose face had been circled in red. "Your brother has been under investigation for 18 months, he said, for his involvement in a large-scale fraud operation, money laundering, identity theft, wire fraud. We arrested 15 people last night. Marcus was one of them." I stared at the photos, at my brother's smiling face, at the expensive suit I'd complimented him on last month, at the life he'd been living that I thought I knew. "That's not possible," I said. "Marcus works for a tech startup. He does data analysis. He just got promoted. He's been sending money home to help Mom." The company is a front. The tech startup was cover for the operation. The promotions were real, but they were promotions within a criminal enterprise, not a legitimate business. The coffee maker beeped. No one moved to get it. "He's been sending money home?" the younger detective asked, pulling out a notepad. "Yeah," I said. "For the past year. $1,000 a month. Mom's been sick, the medical bills. He said he wanted to help." The detectives exchanged a look. "That money was likely proceeds from the fraud, which means your mother could be implicated, and you too if you've accepted any financial help from him." My chest tightened. "I haven't, but my mother, she didn't know. She had no idea where the money came from. She just thought Marcus was doing well." "We believe you," he said. "But we need to ask you some questions about your brother, about what you knew, about conversations you had with him about his work." "I didn't know anything," I said. My voice was rising now, panic creeping in. "I swear, I thought he worked for a real company. He talked about product launches and team meetings and office politics. He showed me his business cards. He brought me to a holiday party at his office. There were people, desks, computers. It looked real. It was designed to look real. That's how these operations work. They create the appearance of legitimacy. They hire people who don't know what's really happening. They build layers of distance between the actual crimes and the people committing them." Did Marcus know? Did he know it was fake? The detective looked at me with something that might have been pity. "Yes," he said. "He knew. He was one of the architects. He helped design the system." The room went very quiet. I could hear the hum of my refrigerator, the drip of the coffee maker, the distant sound of traffic outside my window. I could hear my own heartbeat. Too loud, too fast. "No," I said. "You're wrong. Marcus wouldn't. He's a good person. He's my big brother. He taught me to ride a bike. He helped me with my homework. He's been taking care of our mother. He wouldn't steal. He wouldn't lie. Not like that." "I'm sorry," the detective said. And this time, he did sound sorry. They asked me questions for 2 hours about Marcus's friends, his habits, his money, his conversations with me about his work. I answered everything as honestly as I could, my mind spinning, my heart breaking with every word. When they finally left, I sat on my couch in the morning light and stared at the business card they'd given me. "Call if you remember anything else," they'd said. "And don't contact your brother. He's not allowed calls except with his lawyer." I picked up my phone. I had 17 missed calls from my mother. I couldn't answer. I didn't know what to say. Instead, I opened my messages. The last text from Marcus was from 3 days ago. "Dinner this weekend? I want to tell you about my new project at work. It's going to be huge. I think this is finally my big break." His big break. I thought about the photos the detective showed me, the buildings, the money, the people whose identities had been stolen, whose bank accounts had been emptied, whose lives had been ruined by the tech startup my brother helped run. I thought about the $1,000 a month he'd been sending our mother, blood money, stolen money, money he'd smiled about when she thanked him, when she told him how proud she was, when she told everyone her son was doing so well. I put my phone face down on the coffee table, and I realized I didn't know my brother at all. My name is Natalie Harris. I'm 32 years old. I work as a middle school teacher in the city, making enough to cover rent and groceries and not much else. I live a simple life. Small apartment, rescued cat, books stacked on every surface. I always thought my life looked small compared to Marcus's. Now I know why. Marcus is my older brother by 4 years. Growing up, he was my hero, the kid who stood up to bullies on my behalf, who snuck me extra cookies when mom wasn't looking, who stayed up late helping me with algebra even though he had his own homework. We grew up in a small house with peeling paint and a mother who worked 2 jobs to keep us fed. Our father left when I was 6. He just didn't come home one day. Mom told us he'd gone to find work in another state, but even as a child, I knew that was a kind lie. He'd left because he couldn't handle the weight of a family he didn't want. Marcus was 10, old enough to remember, old enough to decide he'd never be like that. He'd never abandon the people who needed him. "I'm going to take care of you and Mom," he told me that first night after Dad was gone. We were sharing my bed because he didn't want me to be alone. "I'm going to be successful. I'm going to make enough money that Mom never has to work like this again." He meant it. I believed him. I believed him for the next 26 years. Marcus was smart, the kind of smart teachers notice. He got scholarships, he got into a good state university, he studied computer science because that's where the money is. He graduated with honors, with job offers, with a future that looked bright and real. He got hired at a software company, then another. He moved up, he moved around. He sent money home when he could, $50 here, $100 there. He said, "I'm building my career. I'm learning the industry. I'm positioning myself for the big opportunity." I was proud of him. We all were. Then 2 years ago, he called with news. "I got it," he said, his voice electric with excitement. "The opportunity I've been waiting for. a startup, cutting-edge tech. They want me to head up their data analytics division. The salary is incredible, Nat, like life-changing. That's amazing, I said. I was grading papers in my tiny apartment, eating ramen for the third night in a row, genuinely thrilled that one of us was making it. What's the company? It's called Apex Solutions. They do financial technology, helping businesses optimize their processes, streamline payments, that kind of thing. It's a small team right now, but we're scaling fast. I'm getting in on the ground floor. I'm so proud of you. Thanks, Nat. This is it. This is my chance to finally do what I promised, to take care of you and Mom. 6 months later, our mother was diagnosed with breast cancer. The medical bills came fast and brutal. Medicare covered some, but not enough.
I scrambled. I took on extra tutoring gigs. I donated plasma. I started a GoFundMe that raised $800 and then stalled. Then Marcus called. "I'm sending you money," he said. $1,000 a month for Mom's bills. Don't argue. I can afford it now. This is what family does. Marcus, that's too much. It's not, he said. I got a raise and a bonus. The company is doing really well. We're about to close a major deal. I want to do this. Let me do this. The money started arriving every month like clockwork. Direct deposit into Mom's account. She cried the first time. She called him and said, "You're such a good boy. I'm so proud of you." I heard the catch in his voice when he said, "I love you, Mom." I should have asked more questions. I should have wondered how a 2-year-old startup was paying that kind of salary, giving those kinds of bonuses. But I was tired. We were drowning in bills, and Marcus was throwing us a lifeline. I took it. Over the next year, Marcus's success seemed to accelerate. He bought a car, a nice one, silver with leather seats. He moved into a downtown loft. He started wearing suits that looked expensive, watches that caught the light. "Business is good," he'd say when I asked. Always vague, always smiling. "We're expanding, opening new offices. The investors are happy." He took me to dinner once at a restaurant where the menu didn't have prices. "Order whatever you want," he said. "I'm celebrating. We just closed our biggest client yet." "What do they do?" I asked. The client. "Financial services," he said. "Honestly, it's pretty technical, boring stuff, but it's lucrative." I ordered the salmon. I didn't ask more questions. He invited me to the company holiday party last December. It was at a hotel downtown, the kind with a lobby that makes you feel underdressed no matter what you're wearing. There were maybe 50 people there, young, well-dressed, drinking expensive wine and talking about quarterly projections and market disruption. "This is my sister, Natalie." Marcus introduced me to his coworkers. "She's a teacher. She's the smart one in the family." They smiled, they shook my hand, and asked polite questions about my work, and seemed genuinely interested. One woman named Jennifer told me, "Jennifer talks about you all the time. He's so proud of his little sister." "I'm proud of him too," I said, watching him across the room, laughing with someone in a sharp suit, looking like he belonged in this world of success and money and bright futures. I should have felt happy for him. Instead, I felt a small, strange unease I couldn't name. Something about the party felt off, too polished, too perfect, like a movie set instead of a real office gathering. But I pushed the feeling away. I was being cynical. I was being jealous. Marcus had worked hard. He deserved this. There were signs, small ones, things I noticed but explained away. Like the time I asked to see his office, and he said, "We're renovating right now. It's a mess. I'll show you when it's done." And then never mentioned it again. Or the time I looked up Apex Solutions online and found a website that was sleek and professional, but strangely vague. No client testimonials, no case studies, just buzzwords and stock photos and a contact form. Or the time Marcus guy called during dinner and stepped outside, and when he came back, his face was tight, his eyes worried. "Everything okay?" I asked. "Yeah, just work stuff, nothing to worry about." But his hands shook a little when he picked up his fork. Or the time Mom asked him exactly what he did at Apex Solutions, and he laughed and said, "I move numbers around, Mom. It's super boring. Let's talk about something else." I told myself it was normal. Tech people are always vague about their work, startups are secretive, success makes people busy and distracted. I told myself Marcus was fine. I told myself I was lucky to have a brother who took care of us. But then there was the day, 3 months ago, when Marcus came over to my apartment unannounced. He looked tired, stressed. He sat on my couch and put his head in his hands. "You okay?" I asked. "Yeah, just a lot of pressure at work. Big things happening. Big decisions. Good big or bad big?" He looked up at me. For a second, I saw something in his eyes. Maybe fear or guilt. Then he smiled, and it was gone. "Good big," he said. "Really good. We're about to launch something major. It's going to change everything." "That's great," I said. "Yeah, but he didn't sound like it was great. He sounded like a man standing at the edge of a cliff, trying to decide whether to jump or step back." I made him tea. We watched a movie. He left around midnight, and at the door, he hugged me longer than usual. "I love you, Nat," he said. "I love you too," I said. "Are you sure you're okay?" He said, "I'm fine. Just take care of yourself, okay? And Mom. No matter what happens, take care of Mom." "Of course," I said. "We're family." "Yeah, we are." I didn't know then that it was a goodbye, that he was already in too deep, already knowing the walls were closing in, already trying to figure out how to protect us from the explosion he knew was coming. Now sitting in my apartment with the business card from the detectives on my coffee table and 17 missed calls from my mother, I replayed every conversation, every dinner, every moment I dismissed my unease. I thought about the $1,000 a month, money I'd deposited, money Mom had used for medication, for co-pays, for the electric bill when chemotherapy made her too tired to work. Stolen money. I thought about the holiday party, the polished people, the perfect smiles, the office that was being renovated, that I'd never seen. A front, all of it. I thought about Marcus at 10 years old, promising to take care of us. Marcus at 22, graduating with honors. Marcus at 36, in handcuffs, being led into a police car. My phone rang. Mom again. I answered this time. "Natalie," she said, her voice breaking. "They arrested Marcus. They're saying terrible things. They're saying he stole. They're saying he's a criminal. Tell me it's not true. Tell me they made a mistake." I wanted to tell her that. I wanted to say the police were wrong, that Marcus was innocent, that this was all a terrible misunderstanding. But I'd seen the photos. I'd heard the detective's voice. I'd felt the truth settle into my bones like cold water. "Mom," I said, and my voice cracked. "I don't think they made a mistake." She made a sound like something inside her broke. "How could he do this?" she whispered. "How could he lie to us like this?" "I don't know," I said. But that was a lie too. I did know. Or at least I was starting to. Marcus had wanted to take care of us. He'd promised. And when legitimate success didn't come fast enough, when the pressure got too great, when the bills piled up and Mom got sick and he couldn't save us the right way, he found another way. A criminal way. And he told himself it was for us, for family, for the promise he'd made when he was 10 years old and our father walked out and left him to be the man of the house. He'd done it for us, and he destroyed us in the process.
"I need to see him," Mom said. I need to talk to him. They said he can't have visitors, I said. Only his lawyer. I don't care what they said, Mom said, her voice stronger now, fierce. He's my son. I need to see my son. Okay, I said. We'll figure it out. We'll go to the jail. We'll find out what we can do. Thank you, she said. Can you come get me? I don't want to be alone. I'm on my way, I said. I hung up. I got dressed. I grabbed my keys. And as I locked my apartment door and walked down to my car, I realized this was just the beginning. The arrest was the explosion. Now came the fallout, the questions, the investigations, the reporters, the lawyers, the trial. The moment when we'd have to stand in a courtroom and hear exactly what Marcus had done, who he'd hurt, how much he'd stolen. The moment when we'd have to decide if we still loved him, if we could forgive him, if family meant standing by someone even when they'd built their success on lies and theft and the ruined lives of strangers. I didn't have answers yet. I just had a mother who needed me and a brother in a cell and 1,000 questions that all started with the same word: why? The jail was a concrete building that looked like it had given up trying to seem human. Gray walls, small windows with bars, a parking lot of people who all had the same exhausted expression, the look of loving someone who'd made terrible choices. Mom and I sat in the waiting room for 40 minutes. She kept twisting her hands in her lap, her fingers working an invisible rosary. She'd lost weight during treatment. Her clothes hung loose. Her face was thin. But today she looked smaller in a different way, diminished, like someone had taken an eraser to the parts of her that believed the world was fundamentally good. Maybe he can explain, she said for the third time. Maybe there's more to the story. Maybe, I said. I didn't believe it, but I didn't have the heart to take her hope away. They called us back finally. A guard led us through a series of locked doors that clanged shut behind us with sounds that made my chest tight. We ended up in a small room with a glass partition and phones on either side. We waited. Then Marcus walked in. He was wearing an orange jumpsuit. His hands were cuffed. His hair was messy. He had dark circles under his eyes and a bruise on his cheek I didn't want to ask about. But what struck me most was his face. He looked relieved to see us, like he'd been terrified we wouldn't come. He sat down. He picked up the phone on his side. Mom grabbed the one on ours. "Mom," he said, and his voice broke. "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." "What did you do? Marcus, what did you do?" He looked at me, then back at her. "I made mistakes. I got involved in something I shouldn't have. I thought I could handle it. I thought I could protect you from it, but it got too big. I couldn't." He stopped, swallowed. "I'm sorry." "The police said you were stealing? That you were running a fraud scheme? That the company was fake?" "It's not that simple. I mean, yes, but..." "Yes or no," I said. I took the phone from Mom because she was crying now, tears sliding down her face. "Did you steal from people?" Marcus looked at me. "Natalie, yes or no?" I said again. He closed his eyes. "Yes." The word sat between us like a body. "How much?" I asked. "I don't know," he said. "The operation was big. A lot of people were involved. I didn't see all of it." "Estimate." "Millions, maybe more." Mom made a sound like she'd been punched. "The money you sent us, that was stolen money?" "Yes, but I was trying to help. Mom needed it. The medical bills." "You paid for Mom's cancer treatment with money you stole from people?" My voice was flat. I felt numb. "You used stolen money to help us?" "I didn't know what else to do. She was sick. You were struggling. I had access to money. I thought I was helping." You were helping with blood money. Don't do that, he said. Don't act like I'm some monster. I did it for you, for Mom, to take care of you like I promised. By becoming a criminal? By doing what I had to do. His voice rose. The guard by the door shifted, watching. Marcus lowered his voice. You don't understand. You've never had to make choices like this. You've never had the weight of a family on your shoulders looking at you to fix things, to provide, to be the man. You're not the man, I said. Dad left. That wasn't your job. You didn't have to. Yes, I did, he said. Someone had to step up. Someone had to make sure we didn't lose everything. And I did that. I kept us afloat. I kept Mom's house out of foreclosure. I paid for her treatment. I gave you money when you needed it. I never took money from you. I took you to dinner. I bought your birthday present. I helped you move. You benefited. We all benefited. Don't pretend you didn't. I felt sick because he was right. I had benefited, not directly, not with deposits in my account, but with meals I didn't pay for, with help I didn't refuse, with the relief of knowing Marcus was successful and I didn't have to carry everything alone. The detective said we might be implicated, that because we took money from you, we could be charged. Marcus's face went pale. No, I'll tell them. I'll make it clear you didn't know, neither of you. I'll what? I asked. You'll lie more? You'll add perjury to your list of crimes? I'll tell the truth, that I deceived you, that you thought it was legitimate, that you're victims too. Are we victims? Or are we accomplices who were too stupid to ask questions? You're victims, he said firmly. You didn't know. I made sure you didn't know. I protected you. By lying? By keeping you safe. Mom took the phone back. Her hand shook. How long? She asked. How long were you doing this? Marcus looked at her with eyes full of shame and defiance tangled together. 3 years, he said. 3 years, Mom repeated. You've been lying to us for 3 years? I wanted to stop. I tried to get out, but the people I was working for, they don't let you just walk away. They had leverage. They knew things. I was trapped. Who were they? I asked, leaning close to the glass. Who were you working for? I can't tell you that. It's not safe. You're in jail, I said. How much less safe can it get? For you, he said. It's not safe for you. If I talk, if I give names, they'll come after you to punish me. I can't. I won't risk that. The guard called time. We had 2 minutes left. I'm getting a lawyer, Marcus said quickly. A good one. I'm going to fight this. I'm going to... Don't, Mom said. Her voice was quiet but firm. Don't fight it. Tell the truth. Cooperate. Make this right. I can't, he said. If I cooperate, if I testify, I'll spend the rest of my life in prison. They're talking 20 years, Mom. 20 years. Then you'll spend 20 years, she said. You did the crime. You pay the price. That's how it works. You don't mean that, he said. You're angry. I get it. But you'll forgive me. You'll visit. You'll write. I don't know what I'll do, Mom said. I don't know who you are anymore. The guard said, time. Marcus stood. I love you, he said desperately. Both of you. I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. But I love you. That was never a lie. Mom hung up the phone. She stood and walked toward the door without looking back. I looked at Marcus one more time, at my big brother, at the man who taught me to ride a bike and helped me with homework and promised to take care of us, at the stranger in the orange jumpsuit who'd built a life on theft and lies. I hung up the phone. I walked out. In the parking lot, Mom leaned against the car and sobbed. I held her and let her break because there was nothing else to do. How could he, she kept saying, how could he do this to us? How could he lie like that? I didn't answer. I just held her until the sobs slowed. When we got back to our house, there were reporters outside. 2 of them, with cameras and microphones. "Ms. Harris," one called as we pulled into the driveway, "do you have any comment on your son's arrest? Did you know about the fraud? Where did you think the money was coming from?" Mom went inside without answering. I stood on the porch and looked at them. "My mother had no knowledge of any illegal activity," I said. My voice was steady, even though my hands were shaking. "She believed her son was working a legitimate job. She's a victim here, not a criminal. Please leave her alone." "What about you?" the reporter asked. "Did you benefit from the fraud?" "No comment," I said, and went inside. The story broke that night. Local news, then national. Tech startup revealed as multi-million-dollar fraud scheme. Marcus's photo, the professional headshot from his LinkedIn, him smiling confidently in a suit, appeared on screen alongside photos of the other defendants. The building where Apex Solutions had been located, graphics showing the flow of money. The anchor said, "Authorities say the operation targeted small businesses and individuals, stealing identities and draining accounts. Victims are estimated to number in the hundreds. Total losses may exceed $30 million. $30 million. I felt sick. My phone started ringing. Friends who'd seen the news, colleagues offering support or asking carefully worded questions, a lawyer calling to say he'd been contacted by the prosecutor's office and I should retain counsel. "Retain counsel," I said. "I didn't do anything." "You accepted money from your brother. Indirectly, that might be enough for them to investigate whether you were involved or willfully ignorant." "I wasn't either," I said. "Then you'll need to prove that." "I'd be happy to represent you. My retainer is $5,000. I hung up. I didn't have $5,000. I barely had $500. The next morning, I went to work because I didn't know what else to do. The principal called me into her office. "Natalie," she said gently, "I'm so sorry about your brother. How are you holding up?" "I'm okay," I lied. "I need to tell you that the school board is concerned. Parents are calling. They've seen the news. They're worried about," she paused delicately, "about your connection to the case." "I didn't do anything wrong," I said. "I know," she said, "but perception matters. If parents pull their kids from your class, if they make noise at board meetings, the district might ask you to take a leave of absence." "You're suspending me?" I asked. "Not suspending," she said quickly, "just suggesting you might want to step back until this blows over. And if it doesn't blow over, if it takes months, years, I need this job. I need the income." "I know," she said. "I'm sorry. I'm giving you a heads up. Be prepared." I left her office feeling like the walls were closing in. That afternoon, a detective called. Not the ones who'd come to my apartment, someone new. "Ms. Harris, we need you to come in for an interview," he said. "We have some follow-up questions." "About what?" I asked. "About your knowledge of your brother's activities, about the money your mother received, about conversations you had with Marcus about his work." "I already answered those questions," I said. "We have new information. We need to clarify some things." "Am I being charged with anything?" "Not at this time. This is just an interview." "Then I'll need to bring a lawyer." "That's your right, but I should tell you, people who lawyer up, we tend to look at them more closely. People who have nothing to hide usually cooperate." "I have nothing to hide, but I'm not stupid. I'll bring a lawyer." I called the lawyer who'd left his card. He agreed to meet me at the station for $1,000. I put it on a credit card I couldn't afford. The interview lasted 3 hours. They asked about every conversation I'd had with Marcus, every dinner, every text.
They showed me bank statements, transaction records, emails I'd never seen. Did you know your brother used your mother's social security number to open an account? My stomach dropped. What? An account in her name at a bank she doesn't use. It received deposits totaling over $200,000 over 18 months. Did she know about that? No, she didn't. I didn't, I swear. But you're her power of attorney for medical decisions. You handle her finances. I pay her bills from her checking account. I didn't know about any other accounts. Did your brother have access to her personal information? He's her son. Of course he had access. He probably helped her fill out forms, sign documents. But if he used her information to commit fraud, I stopped. She's the victim here. He stole her identity.
Or she allowed him to use it, the detective said, and now she's claiming ignorance. That's not what happened, I said, my voice rising. My lawyer put his hand on my arm. My client has answered your questions, he said. If you're not charging her, we're done here. We left. In the parking lot, the lawyer said, they're building a case. They think your mother knew. They think you might have known. Be very careful. Don't talk to your brother. Don't talk to anyone about this without me present. This is insane, I said. We didn't do anything. Innocent people go to prison all the time, he said, because they can't prove they didn't know, because the jury sees them accepting money and assumes they must have known where it came from. So what do? I asked. You cooperate fully, he said. You give them everything they ask for. You show them you have nothing to hide, and you pray that's enough. That night, I got a call from a reporter. Miss Harris, I'm working on a story about the victims of Apex Solutions. Would you be willing to comment on your brother's role? No, I said. I've spoken to several victims, she said. People who lost their savings, a woman whose identity was stolen and whose credit was destroyed, a small business owner who's filing for bankruptcy. They want answers. They want to know how your family benefited while they suffered. We didn't benefit, I said. We were lied to. We're victims too. Are you? She asked. Your mother received over $200,000 in an account your brother opened in her name. That's not a victim. That's a co-conspirator. She didn't know about that account, I said. He stole her identity. So she says, the reporter said. But can you prove it? I hung up. I sat in my apartment and looked at the walls closing in. My job was at risk. My mother might be charged. I might be charged. The media was painting us as criminals. The victims wanted blood. And Marcus was in jail, refusing to cooperate, refusing to name names, claiming he was protecting us while simultaneously destroying us. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You should know the truth about your brother. Meet me tomorrow. I'll tell you everything. I stared at the message. I should delete it. I should tell my lawyer. I should stay far away from whatever this was. But I needed answers. I needed to know the whole truth about what Marcus had done and who he'd done it with. I typed back, where and when. The FBI office was nothing like I expected. I'd imagined something from a movie, dark rooms, intense interrogations, agents in suits hovering over suspects. Instead, it was fluorescent lights and cubicles, and agents who looked tired and overworked and grateful I'd shown up. Agent Williams was the lead investigator on the Apex Solutions case. He was maybe 50, with gray hair and kind eyes that had seen too much. He offered me coffee. I said yes, because my hands needed something to hold. We sat in a conference room. I spread out the documents Angela had given me. I told him everything she'd told me about Victor, about the organization, about Marcus becoming an informant. He knew. We knew. For 4 months. Your brother came to us voluntarily. He was helping us build the case. Then why did you arrest him? I asked. Because Victor found out. We don't know how, but 2 days before we planned to move, Victor disappeared. We had to act fast. We arrested everyone we could to try to contain the damage, including Marcus, to protect his cover. So people think he's just another criminal, I said. Yes, and for now, that's safer for him and for you. Angela said you want him to testify. We do, but he's refusing. He says he won't put his family at risk. What if I testify? What if I tell the jury what Angela told me about Victor, about how Marcus tried to get out? Williams leaned back in his chair. You'd be testifying as a character witness about what you know secondhand. It would help, but it's not the same as Marcus testifying about what he saw, what he did, who gave the orders. But it's something, I said. It is, he agreed, and we'll take it. But Natalie, if you testify, you become visible. Right now, you're just the sister. No one's paying attention to you. If you testify, that changes. Media attention, public scrutiny, and possibly attention from Victor. I'm already a target, I said. If Victor wants to hurt Marcus, I'm leverage, whether I testify or not. That's true, which is why we're offering you and your mother protective custody. It's not full witness protection. You wouldn't have to change your identities, but we can move you to a safe location, provide security, monitor any threats. For how long? I asked. Until we catch Victor, or until the threat is neutralized. And if you never catch him, we will, but his eyes said he wasn't certain. I went home and told my mother everything. We sat at her kitchen table, the same table where we'd eaten 1,000 meals, where Marcus had done his homework, where we'd celebrated his scholarships and his job offers and his promotions that were all built on lies. He was trying to help, she said when I finished. He went to the FBI. He tried to make it right. After 3 years of making it wrong, I said, Mom, he stole from people. He hurt people. The fact that he later had a conscience doesn't erase that. I know, but he's still my son, our family. How can you testify against him? I'm not testifying against him, I said. I'm testifying for the victims, for justice. Marcus made his choices. I'm making mine. What if Victor was after us? She asked. The FBI will protect us. They're offering us a safe house, security, everything we need. And then what? She asked. We hide for the rest of our lives? We leave our home, our friends, everything we know? If that's what it takes, I said. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, I won't testify. I can't. He's my son. I know, I said. I'm not asking you to. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. He'll hate you for this. I know, I said. I might lose both my children, she said, and her voice broke. I took her hand. You won't lose me, Mom. I'm right here, but I have to do this. I have to try to make some part of this right. She nodded, tears streaming down her face. Okay. The FBI moved us 2 weeks later. A small apartment in a suburb an hour away, with agents parked outside, with instructions not to tell anyone where we were, with new phone numbers and a security system, and the constant awareness that we were hiding. I took a leave of absence from work. Family emergency, I told my principal. She didn't ask questions. I think she was relieved to have me gone. Marcus found out I was cooperating when his lawyer told him. He called me from jail furious. How could you do this? How could you betray me? I'm not betraying you, I said. I'm telling the truth. You're helping them put me in prison. You put yourself in prison, I said. I'm helping them catch Victor. There's a difference. You're going to get yourself killed, he said. You're going to get Mom killed. For what? For people you don't even know? For people you hurt, I said. For people whose lives you destroyed while you were playing the hero, sending money home like you were some kind of savior. I was trying to help, he said. With blood money, I said. You keep saying you did it for us, but you did it for you, to feel important, to feel like the man you promised to be. And when it all fell apart, you chose to protect yourself instead of doing the right thing. I'm protecting you, he said. No, I said. You're protecting yourself and calling it love. Real protection would be testifying, putting Victor away, making sure he can't hurt anyone else. I can't, he said. Then I will, I said. He hung up. We didn't speak again for 3 months. The trial began in September. The courthouse was surrounded by media. I had to enter through a side door, flanked by FBI agents, my face covered with a hood to avoid cameras. Inside, the courtroom was packed. Families of victims, reporters, lawyers in expensive suits, and in the front, in orange jumpsuits, 15 defendants, including Marcus. He looked at me once when I walked in. His face was expressionless, but his eyes held something I couldn't read. Anger, betrayal, maybe also understanding. I testified on the 3rd day. I told the jury about Angela's visit, about what she told me, about Victor and the organization and Marcus's attempt to cooperate. I told them about the money Marcus had sent home, about how we'd believed it was legitimate, about how we were victims too. The defense attorney cross-examined me hard. Isn't it true you benefited from the fraud? That your mother used stolen money for her medical treatment? We didn't know it was stolen. But you benefited, he pressed. Yes, I said. We benefited. And when we found out the truth, we cooperated. We gave the money back. We're testifying now to try to make it right. Or to save yourselves from prosecution, he said. We were never going to be prosecuted, I said. We didn't know. The FBI cleared us. I'm here because it's the right thing to do. I looked at the jury as I said it. I wanted them to see me, to know I was telling the truth. Marcus testified a week later. Not by choice. The prosecution called him as a witness, and he had no choice but to answer under oath. He admitted everything. The fraud, the theft, the money laundering. He admitted he knew it was wrong. He admitted he did it anyway. But he also testified about Victor, about the organization, about the threats, about trying to get out and being trapped. Why did you finally go to the FBI? The prosecutor asked. Marcus looked at the jury. Because I couldn't live with what I was doing anymore. I'd told myself I was helping my family, but I was hurting hundreds of other families. And when I realized that, when I really saw what I had become, I knew I had to stop it. And Victor Chen? The prosecutor asked. Did you fear him? Yes, Marcus said. I still do. But you're testifying anyway, the prosecutor said. Marcus looked at me then, really looked at me. Yes, he said, because my sister was right. Some things are more important than fear. The jury deliberated for 2 days. They found all 15 defendants guilty on multiple counts. Marcus was sentenced to 8 years, with credit for time served and cooperation. Others got more, a few got less. Victor Chen was still missing. The FBI had leads, but nothing solid. He was out there somewhere, and we all knew it. After the sentencing, Marcus's lawyer arranged for us to meet one last time before he was transferred to federal prison. We sat across from each other in that familiar room, with the glass between us and the phones in our hands. 8 years, he said. You'll get out early for good behavior, maybe 6. Still a long time, he said. Yes, I said. We were quiet for a moment. I'm sorry, he said, for all of it, for lying, for stealing, for putting you in danger, for being angry when you did the right thing. I'm sorry, too, I said, that I couldn't save you, that I had to choose the victims over you. You made the right choice, he said. I know that now. I was too scared to see it. Are you still scared? I asked. Terrified, but also Relieved. I don't have to lie anymore. I don't have to pretend. I can just serve my time and try to become someone I'm not ashamed of. You were never someone I was ashamed of until you were. And maybe someday you won't be again. I hope so, he said. Mom wants to visit you in prison when you're settled. I'd like that, he said. Me too, I said. Not right away. I need time. But eventually. Take all the time you need. I'll be here. We said goodbye. I walked out into the autumn afternoon, and for the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe. The FBI caught Victor Chen 6 months later. He was hiding in Thailand, living under an assumed name. They extradited him. He went to trial. He was convicted. He got 25 years. When I heard, I called Marcus. He was in federal prison in Pennsylvania, working in the library, taking classes, trying to rebuild himself from the inside out. They got him, I said. I know, Marcus said. My lawyer told me. It's over. It's over, I agreed. Mom and I moved back home, back to our houses, our jobs, our lives. But everything was different. We were different. She visited Marcus once a month. I visited every few months. We were rebuilding, slowly, carefully, with honesty instead of lies. I testified at a victim restitution hearing. I stood in front of people whose lives had been destroyed and said, I'm sorry. My family benefited from your pain. We didn't know, but that doesn't make it okay. We're doing everything we can to make it right. Some people accepted my apology. Some didn't. I understood both. I started volunteering with a victim advocacy group, helping people navigate the legal system, helping them find resources, helping them rebuild. It didn't erase what Marcus had done, but it was something. 2 years after the trial, I got a letter from Angela. She'd come forward, testified in Victor's trial, entered witness protection. She wrote, "Thank you for being brave when I wasn't. Thank you for finishing what your brother started. The victims got justice because you chose truth over family. That takes courage." I kept the letter. I read it when I felt guilty, when I wondered if I'd made the right choice. Most days, I believed I had. Some days, I wasn't sure. But I knew one thing. I could live with doubt. I couldn't have lived with silence. 3 years into a sentence, Marcus called me.
I am teaching a class, he said, computer skills, for guys who want to learn a trade when they get out. It's good. It feels like I'm helping, the right way this time. I'm proud of you, I said. Don't be, he said. Not yet. Ask me again in 6 years when I'm out and I've stayed clean and I've actually done something worth being proud of. Okay, I said. I'll ask you then. Will you be there? He asked. When I get out? Will we still be family? Yes, I said. We'll still be family. A different family than before, but still family. Good, he said. That's good. We talked for a few more minutes about Mom, about the weather, about nothing important and everything important. When we hung up, I sat with the phone in my hand and thought about promises. Marcus had promised to take care of us. He'd kept that promise in the worst way possible. I'd promised to always love my brother. I was keeping that promise in the only way I could, with truth, with boundaries, with the understanding that love doesn't mean protecting people from consequences. Sometimes it means letting them face those consequences and standing beside them while they do. The victims got justice. Victor got caught. Marcus got a chance to become someone better. And I got to live with myself. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't easy. But it was right. And in the end, that had to be enough. 6 years have passed since the trial. Marcus got out of prison last month on early release for good behavior. He served 5.5 years. He's living in a halfway house now, working at a nonprofit that helps formerly incarcerated people find jobs. He calls Mom every Sunday. He calls me every other week. We're learning each other again, not as the siblings we were, the hero big brother and the adoring little sister, but as two adults who share a history and are trying to build something new from the ruins. Last week, he came to my apartment for dinner. It was awkward at first. We didn't know where to sit, what to talk about, how to be in the same room without the weight of everything between us. But we tried. We made pasta. We talked about small things. His job, my students, Mom's garden. We didn't talk about Apex Solutions or Victor or the trial. Not yet. Maybe someday. But not yet. When we hung up, he sat with the phone in his hand and thought about promises. Marcus had promised to take care of us. He'd kept that promise in the worst way possible. I'd promised to always love my brother. I was keeping that promise in the only way I could. With truth, with boundaries, with the understanding that love doesn't mean protecting people from consequences. Sometimes it means letting them face those consequences and standing beside them while they do. I teach now at a different school, in a different district. I'm still a middle school teacher. I still live simply, but I'm not the same person I was 6 years ago. I'm harder in some ways, softer in others. I know that families are complicated, that love doesn't always look like loyalty, that sometimes the people we trust most are the ones who hurt us deepest. And I know that doing the right thing doesn't always feel good. Sometimes it feels like betrayal. Sometimes it costs you everything, but you do it anyway because the alternative, silence, complicity, protection of the guilty, that costs even more. I still volunteer with the victim advocacy group. I met some of the Apex Solutions victims. I sat with them while they told their stories. I apologized, knowing it would never be enough. Some forgave me, some didn't. I carry both. Mom is doing well. Her cancer has been in remission for 4 years. She's retired now, spending her days in her garden, at her book club, with friends who stood by her when the news broke and the reporters came and the neighbors whispered. She loves Marcus. She always will. But she loves him differently now, with boundaries, with honesty, with the knowledge that he's capable of both great good and great harm. He's my son, she said to me once, but he's also a man who made terrible choices. I can hold both truths and still love him. It's hard, but it's real. Victor Chen is in federal prison in California. He'll die there. I don't think about him often, but when I do, I feel a grim satisfaction. He hurt so many people. He built an empire on theft and lies, and he lost. Justice isn't always clean. It doesn't undo the harm. It doesn't give people back what was stolen. But it's something. It's a line in the sand that says, this was wrong, and we won't pretend it wasn't. If you were sitting at my table tonight, I would tell you what I learned. I would tell you that family is not an excuse, that love doesn't mean protecting people from consequences, that loyalty to a person should never outweigh loyalty to truth and justice. I would tell you that doing the right thing is rarely easy, that it often costs you relationships, peace, certainty, that you'll question yourself, that people will judge you, that you might lose the people you're trying to save.
But I would also tell you that you can survive it, that you can live with the hard choice if it's the right choice, that the victims, the people whose lives were destroyed, they deserve someone to stand up for them, even when that someone is the sister of the man who hurt them. I would tell you that redemption is possible, that people can change, that my brother is not the same man who walked into that courtroom in handcuffs. He's trying. He's failing sometimes. He's trying again. And I would tell you that forgiveness is complicated, that I forgave Marcus for lying to me, that I'm still learning to forgive him for using our mother's illness as cover for his crimes, that some days I'm not sure I'll ever fully forgive him, and that's okay. Because forgiveness isn't about pretending it didn't happen. It's about choosing to live in the present instead of the past. It's about holding people accountable and still believing they can be better. Marcus's dream job was a criminal enterprise. It paid for our mother's treatment, it bought him the life he thought he wanted, and it destroyed hundreds of families. I helped bring it down. I testified, I told the truth. And I'd do it again. Not because it was easy, not because it didn't hurt, but because some truths are more important than comfort. Some choices define who you are. I chose justice over my brother. I chose the victims over my family. I chose truth over silence. And I can live with that. The kettle hums in my kitchen. The cat purrs on the couch. Outside, the city moves in its ordinary, relentless way. My phone sits on the table, ready for Marcus's next call.